So Truth Hero Turtle Quirk and I got together again to discuss and review the War Arc in My Hero Academia, as well as go over our previous collab from last year that took place before the War Arc had started. So let's get into it. So Turtle correctly predicted that Shigaraki was probably going to decay a whole bunch of heroes in one go, and as we know, that obviously happened.
Yeah, more than just a few heroes as well, like an entire city, so many civilians. So you went above and beyond what I was thinking.
We thought that twice was going to be valuable. I mean, granted, it seems like he was going to be, because at that time we were going off of the panel of the projected potential of him using his cloning ability on the high-end Nomus at the time, and that was like, oh my god, that would be incredible, but also way overpowered. But no, he actually died in this arc. I don't think any of us expected that.
I mean, that still means he's special, and he uses cloning abilities on himself. So
yeah, you know what? The reason we thought he would be so important is exactly what you said, Zonin, because he can make all those different Nomus and he can replicate Shigaraki and all that stuff. So that's the exact reason why he was taken out. So I guess it makes sense why he was killed, but yeah, sad that we didn't get to see his full potential though.
Okay, so we thought All for One would be taken from Izuku, and that almost happened. So that's half a point there, I guess.
Along with him almost being decayed, yeah.
Yeah.
So Truth thought that Eri was going to further develop her abilities in this arc, and he was correct because she did. It turns out that she was indeed off-panel training to some extent, and straight up brought back Mirio's quirk. This is something we didn't even talk about. It's something we didn't even think was going to happen. Not anytime soon, at least.
I mean, even the chapter before Mirio came back, if you would ask me, is Mirio going to come back soon? I'd be like, no, there's no reason for him to come back right now. It was just so random, but I loved it though. You guys know I love Mirio as well. So yeah, I was happy to see it. It just kind of came out of nowhere, but from our perspective. But obviously, Eri was working in the background to do this.
And I'll fully admit, I said that Eri might develop her powers, but I also said she would not restore Mirio. I was very against the whole idea of her doing that, unless she first figured out how to, fast forward or something. But I guess it does work, and my analysis of her quirk was a bit off. There was something, if you're not sold on the idea of characters coming back, there was one thing that hinted that Mirio would come back, and that's the last words Night Eye said to him. He sort of looked at his future and said, "You'll be a great hero."
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And there was actually probably some people that are you're going to be a great hero assistant. They're working at a desk or something.
I saw some people say he was going to be a janitor or something like that. Janitor.
Wow.
I mean, they wouldn't do him that dirty. Best thing we got for you is janitor. I mean, I'm thinking that Gentle is even getting a better deal than that. So we all unanimously agreed that Dabi would be revealed as Toya in this arc, and that clearly happened.
That was my favorite moment of the whole arc. The hype of the Dabi reveal, I don't think anything has beaten that feeling of knowing that he is Toya Todoroki. I thought the setup was just, we've all seen it. It's been happening for years now. So to just finally get that payoff, it was almost perfect for me.
Yeah, people have been wanting that for a while, and then it almost kind of snuck up on you. You knew that with everything that Endeavor was going through in this arc, that was just the cherry on top of putting him through the ringer. What
made it even more perfect is that just Shoto happened to be there as well. Dabi didn't even know that he would be there. It just, the perfect coincidence almost. And then you get this epic battle between the siblings. Pretty cool.
I'm glad that we at least got that. They at least had their little battle, because I was unsure about that. I thought that it was going to be Endeavor and him, but I'm glad that Shoto was involved too.
I kind of figured that once Shoto joined the main fight, because he was back at the hospital, that with Gigantomachia on the way with Dabi, that they were on a collision course to reveal that.
Yeah. I think we were all probably simultaneously speculating the same thing around that time. A lot of our opinions synced up while we were all following this arc throughout the year, which was pretty cool to see. So here's another thing that Truth was correct about. He said Hawks would try to kill twice, but unlikely that he would successfully do it. But he still thought that Hawks would try to do it. But not only did he do it, he did do it. and he did it in kind of a sus way.
I didn't expect him to be so sneaky about it. I just thought that, he'd overpower him, and slash him with his wings face to face. We have to eliminate him. He's too much of a threat. And this actually ties into the latest chapter about this discussion of why do we keep certain villains alive. If Twice is an S-rank villain and he's in there with All For One and Shigaraki, I mean, people were saying everywhere, like, just nuke Shigaraki, kill him, right? You have to kill him. He's too dangerous to be kept alive. I just thought the same thing about Twice, so I thought Hawks is gonna take him out if he has the chance. I did not see him literally backstabbing him, but
I understand why you would think that Hawks wouldn't be successful, because prior to Twice's death, I'm trying to remember how many major characters actually permanently died besides Senaitai. Like, I don't think that many. I think Twice was maybe the second one, like after Senaitai. I don't remember another significant death. Or maybe I'm just forgetting, but
just minor heroes like the sand villain. I mean, the sand hero.
Snatch. Yeah, that was pretty much it, I think.
But no one major.
Yeah, so
other than like Nomus and stuff.
Yeah, they don't count. They're already dead.
Who knows what they are actually, though? Because what is Kurogiri?
Kurogiri is a special one, though, isn't he?
I mean, he's a special high-end Nomu / Shirakumo.
We all thought that All Might was gonna die.
And we were all wrong.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of surprised that he didn't. He didn't even show up.
No.
Did what? Maybe a couple panels?
He, from what I can remember, he was in one panel just of him and Eri watching the battle unfold. And like, I was
very
kind of
irresponsible to show a child, by the way. But
yeah, not the best content to be watching during the day. But I was kind of thinking, like, after he made that one appearance in that brief panel, I was always of the opinion that maybe he would kind of like rush to the battlefield to kind of like sacrifice himself in exchange for Izuku, because All Might knows that Shigaraki wants to kill him, and he can see on TV that Izuku's in trouble. So I was always thinking that at some point, however late it got in the day, like up to a few chapters ago, I was still thinking that maybe All Might would just show up. But yeah, he never did, which is disappointing, but obviously Horikoshi has plans for him going forward.
And heroes did die, so I guess we have that same level of loss. Midnight died, and obviously a bunch of pro heroes that we only met in this arc. But I mean, unless Deku's mom didn't make it out alive, there's not really an equivalent of Deku losing like a mentor or a parent figure. Which I'm glad. I mean, maybe when All Might's time finally does come, it'll be even more symbolic. But yeah.
I guess we go back into Gran Torino at this point, since you were talking about not losing a mentor. Not even he died. He had a fake death in this chapter.
Man. Yeah. So I was saying this on Twitter the other day. Like, when Shigaraki impaled Gran Torino, I assumed at that moment that he was dead. I thought he died on the spot, because you could see blood coming out of his stomach. Like, it's just not something you could realistically survive. And so as the chapters continue to go on and on and on, you start to realize that, wait, Gran Torino's still conscious here. And then it kind of slowly dawned on me that, he might actually survive this thing. So obviously we don't have confirmation on that as we record this, but it's looking like Gran Torino will possibly survive. And I think that's a big mistake if true, because the injury was just so severe and he's already so old. So it just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense.
I likened his injury to Sir Night Eye's injury. They're very similar, right?
Yeah, exactly. Impaled through the stomach. Yeah, and exactly the same, almost.
And Night Eye, I mean, like, he was able to survive enough to go to the hospital and give his farewell speech, which I thought maybe would have happened with Gran Torino, because I too expected him to die, but no. Interesting that he's sticking around.
Yeah, I just don't know for what purpose. I mean, it would have been interesting if Gran Torino died in front of All Might, because that was kind of All Might's other mentor. I mean, I don't know. I guess people are 2 out of 3 in surviving stomach injuries, because Best Genius did. So maybe it's not the most lethal thing in My Hero Academia.
Yeah, and he even lost a lung,
yeah,
allegedly. So the last thing that we'll discuss here for this arc is that we all pretty much suspected that this would end in the favor of the villains. And do you guys think that it did?
Oh man, that's such a mixed bag, because like you could actually make an argument on both sides, you could say, because the villains did have some wins. Obviously the reputation of Endeavor is ruined. Endeavor's probably gonna have to resign after this arc, unless he has a really good excuse for what he did. He's probably gonna have to resign. And the villains, obviously, Maki destroyed so many cities on his way to Shigaraki. So many heroes are dead. So many civilians are dead. But at the same time, Reed Destro was captured. Like a bunch of the Paranormal Liberation Front higher ups were captured. So there are some major losses for the villains, also some major wins. I think maybe we'll see what happens in the next chapter, but All for One's okay, it seems. Shigaraki's okay. So they still have those two like pillars of the Paranormal Liberation Front. So they will be successful going forward as long as they have one of those two.
I think it was 100% victory for the villains.
100%.
I think Shigaraki doesn't care if he loses Paranormal Liberation Front members like Redestro and Gaten. If you look at what Shigaraki, did, he basically finally shook everyone's faith in Hero Society. He showed that Endeavor is a huge fraud, so they don't have a number 1 hero. Hawks is down, so they don't really have a number 2 hero. And then it falls on an injured Best Jeanist. And then they were able to kill notable pro heroes in front of the kids from UA. And that panel where Kirishima and Mina find Midnight, to me it seems like they're very shook. In terms of the main villains, I think their moral victory in what they're trying to accomplish and their end goal of tearing down Hero Society, this is a complete win across the board. I just don't think anything the heroes did can justify their losses, whereas the villains, they can.
Yeah, I mean, if this was a battle in this overarching war, this was probably one for the villains, at least this one individual battle. Finally, do you guys think this is the best arc in My Hero?
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely like the most exciting. Like reading this week to week was just an experience, and it still is an experience because it's technically still going on with the latest chapter and everything. Honestly, like there were so many reveals, but at the same, I think I'm not the only one who thinks this. Like I loved all the reveals and everything that came out, but towards the end though, I think it did get a little bit much. I think with Deku's 4th quirk, what was it called, Danger Sense or something similar. That was the point where I was like, okay, I'm a little bit tired of everything coming out now. But no, up until then, I was really enjoying everything. I would say it's my favorite arc. Like if I was going to reread an arc, I'd probably choose this one.
If I'm anticipating something being animated in My Hero Academia, it's this arc. Even without the Dabi reveal, I think it was one of the best arcs. And then they just, that was sort of part of the conclusion of it. I mean, Jonah, you'll appreciate this. Like, how did you like the battles in this arc compared to the rest of the series?
The best, by far.
There you go. Best battles, best reveals, character development from the villains, because that's kind of how it started. Character development, Twice, Toga, so, who's still out there, by the way.
I was just thinking as well, now that you mentioned the battles as well, when Shigaraki first woke up, and then him versus Endeavor, that was a fight. It's kind of easy to forget about that one because there was so much that happened after it. But do you guys remember that? Like that was awesome reading that. I think it was about like 1 or 2 chapters or so. But yeah, that was an awesome fight as well.
That was my favorite part of the arc is when Endeavor, Izuku, Bakugo, Gran Torino, and Aizawa, they're all working as a cohesive unit fighting Shigaraki. It is amazing. And then you had Manuel like giving the eye drops to Aizawa, and Lockrock was there like doing his quirk intermittently. Oh man, just so good.
I really thought that they had a chance.
No, it looked like they could have won. If there was no other like shenanigans popping up, they probably could have defeated him. I mean, it was basically over when Endeavor had him locked up, like Goku Raditz style, and did the Prominence Burn. If All for One didn't kick in, it was done.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Makia was on his way, so...
He would have showed up to a burst corpse.
I mean, he kind of still did. But...
Yeah.
And that was it for this collab on the War Arc review. Please check out the next video that I'm going to be dropping, where we also discuss the future of the series, as well as what's going on with Deku and Shigaraki. Thanks again, guys. Please check out Turtle Quirk and Truth Heroes channels in case you haven't already. And maybe subscribe to this one as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.